Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to begin the funeral services here for Anita Coleman. As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you has a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn them off at this time. Officiating the service here today is Rabbi Yehashua Karsh.
Mizmor David, Adonai mi yagur ba'ohalecha, mi yishkon b'har kadshecha. Holech tamim u'fa'al tzedek v'dover emes bilvavo. Lo ragal l'shono lo asa l'reyehu ra, v'cherpa lo nasa al krovo. Nivzeh be'einav nim'as, ves yir'ei Adonai yichabed. Nishpa lahara v'lo yamir, kaspa lo nasam b'neshech, v'shochad al noki lo lokach, ose eleh, Lo yimot le'olam. David, Lord, who may sojourn in your tent, who may dwell in your holy mountains, one who walks in purity, does what is righteous, and speaks the truth from the heart, who has no slander on the tongue, has not done harm to a fellow, nor cast disgrace towards a neighbor, in whose eyes a contemptible person is repulsive, but who honors those who are in awe of the Lord, who swears truthfully even to personal hurt, and never retracts, who does not lend money with interest, nor takes a bribe against the innocent. One who does these things shall never falter. In your little pamphlet here, where it says 23rd Psalm, and we'll read it together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Mizmor David, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, v'nosteshe yarbitzeni, al mei menuchos yinaleni. Nafshi yeshovev yancheni b'maglei tzedek l'man shemoi. Gam ki elech b'geitzal moves, Lo ira ra ki ata imadi, shiftecha mishantecha, hema yinachamuni, taroch lefanai shulchan neged tzoroi, dishanta b'shem en roishi koisi ravoya, ach toi v'chesa yirafuni koyemei chayai, v'shavti b'veis Adonai le'orech yamim. There are kind people, and then there are people who are kindness itself. There are loving people, and there are people who are love itself. There are joyous people, and there are people who are joy itself. Last night, I had the pleasure of spending time with several of Anita's children, and it was a beautiful time spent sharing history, qualities, and ideas. And it was beautiful because Anita was beauty. When I reflect back on the moments I was in Anita's presence, I think of a ball of light rolling by. Wherever she paused, there was light, there was a glow. Last night I asked Anita's children, just because the conversation was moving in that direction, I asked them if they would comfortably refer to their mother as righteous, and they all immediately said yes. They said it from years of experience growing up in her home and then sharing their families with her. And I think everybody who knew Anita would agree. She died on Rosh Hashanah. It feels like that should matter. Some people say we have a tradition that it matters. I'm not sure what the source of that is, but I did find that Nina Totenberg, the NPR reporter, on a Twitter feed was talking about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she mentioned a Jewish teaching is that those who die just before the Jewish New Year are the ones God has held back until the last moment because they were needed most and were the most righteous. Anita died at the very, very beginning of Rosh Hashanah. I'm assuming that that same theory would apply there as well. There are many stories like this, but one particular story that was shared last night about Anita was they were leaving, she was leaving the hospital room right after her husband, Phil, died. So she's just leaving the room. And outside the room, there is somebody who is suffering because they have a loved one who is about to die. And immediately, she went up to this woman to comfort her. She had just walked out of the room where her husband had died. She steps out, and the first thing she thinks to do is comfort this woman who was herself suffering. Linda told me that before Anita passed on, her daughter Lauren, who's Anita's granddaughter, asked her grandmother to send a sign to let them know she was okay. After she passed away, could she send them a sign? That's what she asked for. And then she was thinking out loud about what that sign should be, something blue, and she settled on a bluebird. If they see a bluebird, they're going to know that that was a sign from Anita to let them know that she was okay. Linda says that not much later, right after her mother had passed away, there were some trees right in front, and all the birds in the tree were brown. And then out of nowhere came a bluebird. She has video of it. She can prove it. Sometime later, she opened her computer. She just happened to open her computer, and there was an image of a bluebird that came up. It was unexplained why this picture came up. She has a picture of that too. She doesn't remember that happening before, and it soon left her screen. I don't think we who knew her need these kind of signs to know that she was righteous, but they're still pretty cool. Where did it all begin? Anita Ray Coleman was born on January 31st, 1935, to her parents, Abraham and Lifsha Olive. They came from Poland and set up house. She grew up in a one-bedroom apartment with two brothers, Julius, who was the older brother, and Stuart, who was the younger brother. She herself was shy all the way through high school. This is shocking information for anybody who's known her since. She loved to dance and she loved music. In fact, she said that if she hadn't chosen to devote herself, all of her energy, to raising her family, she's pretty sure that she would have become a dancer. At some point while she was a teenager, maybe 15 or 16 years old, her mother became sick with cancer. She visited her mother, and her mother was full of life and left. And not long afterwards, a phone call came to inform them that her mother passed away. This was shocking for her. She wasn't expecting it, and it remained an open wound for the rest of her life. After her mother passed away, her father told her that he's going to have to find some solution for her younger brother, Stuart, because he can't take care of him. And she said, nobody else is taking care of him. She's 15 or 16. She said, nobody else is taking care of him. I'm taking care of him. And that's what she did. She took care of him and her father. When she was, after high school, she became engaged to her husband, Phil, and was married at the age of 20. Stuart at that time was 9 years old, and they took him into their house. So they are newly married, a newly married couple, and they're starting off with a 9-year-old child. At first, they lived in a tiny apartment in East Rogers Park. In 1966, they moved to Skokie, and then, not terribly long after that, they moved to Northbrook. Even though they lived and raised a family in Northbrook, they never lived what was considered a Northbrook lifestyle. The children never had caregivers. There never was a cleaning lady. Anita insisted on doing it all. Phil and Anita eventually welcomed 9 children into the world. Linda, Milton, Michael, Brian, Amy, Rhonda, David, and Lisa. A baby boy lived just 3 days and then passed away. And this was apparently another gaping wound that stayed gaping, which is that she obviously had seen the baby and held the baby. At some point, the baby wasn't doing well, and the doctors just took the baby away. It wasn't clear exactly what was to follow, but she did not expect that the baby would die and that she'd never again be able to hold the baby. And this became another kind of gaping wound. If you asked Anita why she chose to have such a big family, she would tell you it was because so many of her larger family were murdered in the Holocaust, and it was her responsibility to rebuild it. She was very single-minded and almost always brought her family around to her plans. It was she who encouraged her husband Philip to go into the construction business, which involved taking risks that he was not necessarily interested in jumping into. But with her encouragement, he did. And that made a big difference in his career. But perhaps the biggest subject that she got Phil to come around on was having 8 children and raising them. At some point, she began taking her family on a journey of spirituality. This, at some point, included saying Kaddish for her father every day after he passed away. At some point, there was mandatory attendance at Friday night dinner. At some point, the house became kosher. And when the Mechitza Minyan at Aish began, that was the beginning of what became an Orthodox lifestyle. Some point in her early life, she started something called A Link to Jewish Life, a network for Jewish singles, which she and her friend Irene, who is here, organized. Essentially, they were in events where Jewish singles could come so they could meet other Jewish people and end up marrying Jewish people. Her devotion to her children and grandchildren was fierce. When Rhonda was a baby, a fire started. It was Hanukkah. The Hanukkah candles were lit, and apparently they were close to some curtains, and at some point the curtains caught fire. So Anita, frantic to protect her family and especially her baby at the time, grabbed one of the curtains. This curtain was on fire, and it was made out of a material that when she grabbed it, clung to her. So she was actually on fire. She rolled, she dropped and rolled, and the fire was put out, but she had serious burns because of this. But this was just one in a series of examples of her toughness and her fierce loyalty and protection of her family. At some point in that journey of spirituality, her brothers died. First it was Stuart, who passed away, and then Julius passed away. And that seemed to also be a trigger for a step up in her religious journey. When her younger children, apparently they call themselves that, the younger children, when they were getting to be high school age, college age, Anita made sure that they formed a connection to Israel. There was a bar mitzvah trip to Israel. There was a nifty trip to Israel. There was a year in Israel, a sophomore year in Israel. And eventually, Lisa and David moved to Israel. They live in Israel, and she has several grandchildren that live in Israel. Her house wasn't just filled with her children, which would have been enough for most of us, but also her children's friends. When her children's friends came over, they were family too. That's how they were treated, and they looked forward to it, and she made sure they were taken care of like that. She wasn't kind or loving or joyous. She was kindness, love, and joy themselves. Eshes Chayil Miimtza, a woman of valor who can find. This is the 31st chapter in Proverbs. Many sing it on Friday night. It's meant to be an allusion to the relationship between the Jewish people and God. But Rabbi David Foreman thinks he has proven that originally King Solomon wrote it as an ode to his great-grandmother, Ruth. She's the only person in Tanakh who's called an Eshet Chayil. There are many people who think that Eshet Chayil is a description of the perfect woman. That is not what Eshet Chayil means. Eshet Chayil does not mean that. Eshet Chayil means a woman of valor. When we use the word valor, we tend to use it in circumstances where one person has sacrificed their life on behalf of others. When a soldier is commended for valor in the battlefield, it's because they thought less about their life than the life of their fellow soldiers. They were willing to put their life at risk for the sake of the life of their fellow soldiers. Ruth is the only person referred to that way in Tanakh, and she is a paradigm of a woman of valor because she devoted herself to taking care of Naomi without much thought to her own personal life, her personal future. We all agree that if you needed a paradigm of Eshet Chayil, if there would be a picture in the dictionary next to Eshet Chayil, it would be Anita, the true Eshet Chayil. So now we're going to hear from children and grandchildren.
Everyone can hear me okay? Yeah. So, I am a little conflicted. I'm going to speak freely from my heart. I wrote something out. I have a bunch of different emotions going through my mind. To be honest, I've been on the run for a while, just getting in this morning. And so I wrote something. So I'm going to probably read it. But just coming here, my mom was sick for many years with dementia. And to be honest with you, I was doing pretty good. I was doing okay. I was even feeling weird. I wouldn't cry. You know, I was like, oh, okay, thanks for coming. But, you know, to be honest, I was like relieved, a little bit relieved that, someone else should have gone first. I was a little bit relieved that she's no longer in pain and no longer suffering. So for me, it's like, and again, I'm going to read it still, so you're going to have to go through some of this again. But she's in a better place. So like, okay, you know. Then all of a sudden I come here, I see some friends from old, my cousin, just like the world comes back to you, and it's a wild thing. So I'm revisiting the mourning process and losing someone who we love so much and was such a part of our lives. But that's the emotional aspect of it all, because I do know she's in a better place, and she's in a better place. We know that, she know that, and I'll also share some more. One other thing I was going to see as we were reading this Mizmor, the Psalm, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of the death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And just when I read that, when we read it, I was just thinking, like, thou art with me. Also going to be in what I'm going to read, but I'll try and trim it up. You know, like my mom had this simple, like, basic, uncomplicated connection to God. She knew it. She knew there was a God. You know, she knew that thou art with me. Like, she lived that. Like, that was her. So that spoke to me, so I just thought I'd mention that. So now things are becoming a little more real. That, again, if I'm being honest, I'm thankful that my mom is out of her suffering, out of her angst, out of her confusion. She lived 91 years, and most of those were great years. A few years ago, she was dancing at her grandson's wedding. You know, she was shuffling down the aisle. You know, like still, recently in the hospital, she fractured her hip, and she was tough and strong, I'm scared to go through what she went through. But you know, she broke her hip within the last year. So I had the opportunity. I was in town to stay and be there with her in the hospital. You know, do they do that, or they put her on hospice, or they did the surgery? She got through it, recovered. One thing they did, they took her off the medication because of, for whatever reasons. And all of a sudden, my mom started coming back. We're singing, and she's sing a song. She sings to all of our kids. So she starts singing along with us and stuff. It's like, oh, Mom's coming back. So like, and then she had to go back on because, again, all the other things that, you know, Alzheimer's and dementia causes, you know, she needed to be back on the medicines, which was the right choice. But again, we're blessed. I feel so blessed. I feel blessed that, like, you know, she had a reawakening. We saw our mom again. So there's so many blessings, so many things to be grateful for. I think of the memories, you know, like I think of my mom, like, and we're going through pictures and we're sharing amongst the family and videos. It's like, it's all the same, you know, it's laughing, you know. My wife likes to say that my mom was a children's whisperer, you know, like she would literally be with the kids and she'd just like enter their world with them and be with them, like all of our kids. And so all the pictures too you see with the kids, like she's just like there with them. So so with that I'll start, but I'll shorten it. So first I wanted to thank you all for being here. It's really special to see people, and it's like to reconnect and to celebrate my mom. I feel like this is an opportunity to celebrate my mom, to honor her, to share her and who she was, and please God, that inspires other people to do good. You know, to walk out from her husband who just died and comforting someone else. You know, to devote her entire life to her family. To, you know, meet new people. Like everyone, she loved meeting new people, and people loved meeting her. So I just want to thank everyone for coming out. It's amazing, and it's always surprised me how much comfort that brings, so thank you. I also want to thank Rabbi Karsh for taking on the ceremony. Anyone that doesn't know Rabbi Karsh and is looking for any inspiration in Torah or Judaism, I think he's an amazing address, and I just wanted to say that. So thank you all for being here. And you also, by the way. I wasn't on the call last night because I've been literally in planes and taxis and stuff for like probably 48 hours. It's an interesting, I'll get to it another time. But from Ukraine to Romania to Moldova to Israel to just the Israel airport to back here. But I missed the call last night, so as I'm also listening to him, it's like they probably covered a lot of what I have in here. So it's going to be condensed. But I'm blessed. I feel blessed. I'm blessed for my mom, her laugh, her great laugh, her big smile, and always, you know, most always, you know, being in a good mood. I feel blessed. I feel blessed that all of us, we had a mom like we had. She was unique and she was special. And, you know, again, just the images I have in my mind are just her smiling, laughing, and having a great time. I'm thankful for that. That's not everyone's life, and I'm thankful that we had that. I felt blessed that we had time to say goodbye. My sister Rhonda, who specializes in memory care, told us a long time ago, the family. Anyone, by the way, anyone dealing with the same things, Rhonda's an amazing, got to promote, but no, she's an amazing, we were fortunate, another blessing is we were fortunate to have my sister Rhonda heading my mom's care. This is her specialty, and she was amazing. So years ago, she shared with us that someone going through dementia and Alzheimer's, it's different because you're actually mourning as the person is alive. So, and again, back to my original point, I didn't think I'd be crying or in emotions because we've been mourning her for a few years. You know, you keep losing a little more, and a little more, and a little more, and a little more. Which was just incredible advice. But I feel like every time I was back here 2 Shabbases ago, and I spent the whole Shabbos with her. I said goodbye. I was here in June. I said my goodbyes. I've been saying my, you know, so like I've had a chance to say my goodbyes, and I'm thankful for that. You know, 91 years again. I said I was thankful to get to hold her. You know, in the physical world, you get to hold them, hug them, kiss her. She, you know, and would give us little kisses. You know, like give her little kisses. So she was still, her essence was still with us. I also going to say my mom loved love. She's very simple, my mom. You give her love, that's all she needs, and she loved love. I remembered when she had angst or confusion, and just say, I love you so much, Mom. We would all say, I love you so much. She's like, I love you so much. Like, she just, like, her mind would just go, I love you so much, like, love. Very simple in this regard. So although I feel like she's left us in this physical world, I feel comfort that she's out of her pain, out of her angst, out of her confusion, and that she, I sincerely believe she did what she needed to do in this world, and that she's now in a far better place. I believe that 100%. I'm going to play something, and I have more to say, but I hope it comes through. I was looking through a video. I remember when my mom said this years ago. She was in Israel, and I was walking to the airport, and she saw orchard on the parking. It said orchard lot. She's like, orchard? My father, my brother, they're all in the orchard cemetery. She's like, that's, like, she took it as like, hopefully this will come through, but you'll hear how she took it, but she was, so I'm going to shorten it, but she was just like, orchard, she was going through all that discovery, and this is what she says. I'll share just a minute of it.
I get signs from God, and that's just a sign saying that everything is okay, everyone's okay, and we'll all meet together one day. Well, I want you to know that when I go, I'm not going to be by myself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes.
So what you're saying, it's
I'm
a
gonna
sign
go
that
back
one,
to my
it's a sign-
family.
Yeah? That
When
what?
my time comes, I'm not going to be by myself because I have family that is up there waiting, and I just want you all to know that when you think it's over, it's not over. Everyone thinks they know everything, but they don't. And part of it is that life goes on in a different way, not the same way as when you're down here. When you're up there, it's even better. So there's nothing to be upset about. Yes, Yisrael Meir. Yes, Abraham Moishe, you little stinker, you.
I love you all. So just a glimpse, but it was so clear to her, like so clear, and like what a message for this day. Just to know, like she knew where she's going, she knows where she is. I believe it with all my heart that she was tapped in and connected and knows what's going on, and that she's in a very, very special place. And also, I also believe, I'm biased, but I believe that she is going to go to the highest places in heaven and be able to shine her light, her laugh, and her love down on all of us now. My father used to say and joke, he says, you know, he wasn't worried about everything because he says, I'm not worried, I'm going into heaven on the wings of Anita. So he was gonna ride in on her wings. That was his plan. So, you know, hopefully she's up there now, and I'm assuming she's dragging him and pulling him along and going higher and higher in heaven. So to try and summarize here who my mom was, as many of you here knew her and could attest, she was a pure, simple, and incredibly passionate Jew. She loved Judaism, and she always had this desire to be more and more and more Jewish. And I said, whether growing up with Friday night dinners every week, with Kaddish and the Chalot and a big meal, or always wanting to become kosher, which again, the Rabbi Karsh spoke about. But when I was 10, the story is, it's a cute story, so I'll share it, is I think one of Rhonda, we had plates. My dad wanted the plates, new plates, let's get the new plates. You know, and she's like, I'm waiting to go kosher. Come on, bring the new plates, I want the plates. So one day, Rhonda says, Dad, why don't you let Mom go, like, just let her do it, she's not going to keep it, you know, like, let her do it, you get the plates. So then he said, okay, so he went for it, and little did he know, you know, we've been kosher ever since in the home. So that's a nice, cute story. But whether it's Jewish values and bringing Judaism into the home, she always had that simple purity of strong Jewish values and knowing what's important, what's most important. Everyone was always shocked that we had 8 kids in our family, right? We're a non-religious Jewish family. The question always was, you're Jewish? You know, like, people are shocked. Jewish? What? Sure. So, but again, to my mom, that was everything. Family. It's the most important. And she always wanted a big family. And again, like Rabbi Karsh said, she pushed for it. She pushed my dad. The last 3 of us are thanks to my mom. Let's keep it at that. And she had some strategies too that she figured out. So quite smart too. She was never a person of material things. She never cared at all about material items or living a good or fancy life. Not at all. My father would have actually enjoyed to probably go on some more vacations, go to nice fancy restaurants, but not my mom. She was always happiest in the home. And our home was filled with laughter, fun, and such warmth. And again, the kids from the neighborhood, friends, everyone always coming home. My mom always running around, happy, birthday parties, everything. So we have many great memories, and especially of our family being together. And our family being together is always what mattered most to my mom, even in the last few years. You know, the family as the family together, the family together, the family together. It's like, yes, we're, you know, but like the family must be together. It was her core. It was her core. So one last story. It's getting long. I apologize, but one last story, and I hope it's again just an honor for my mom as we hope to celebrate all she did. Is which illustrates when she took on this Yiddishkeit. She took on Orthodox observant Judaism. And which inspired me in my journey to go in this path. It was a big part of my inspiration. The story goes like this: is that she was probably in her mid 60s or early 70s, somewhere around there, and she started walking to Young Israel. So when she started saying Kaddish every day, it's about a 2-mile walk, I think. So an hour and 20-minute walk. She would walk every Shabbos because now she's not driving on Shabbos. So she's walking, and it started raining. So my dad goes to pick up my mom. But my mom's walking back, you know, no umbrella, nothing. My dad's driving along and saying, get in the car, get in the car. And she's like, no, you know, get in the car. Like, so they're fighting back and forth, you know, and she had a bad hip too. She had a bad hip and everything. Later I went to LA and I'm like, had a 45-minute walk to shul. I started keeping Shabbos and I was like, if my mom could do what she's doing, I could sure do 45 minutes. And it was actually my little time with my mom, but she was strong and tough for the right things. Right. Anyway, she understood the importance and beauty and gift of being Jewish, and that is also what she always wanted her family to carry on. I was just at the Sivan, my niece, wedding, and her beautiful wedding. And her husband told me that a beautiful Jewish wedding in New York, and her husband told me that Sivan always said it's because of Bubby's focus on marrying a Jewish, marrying Jewish and keeping Judaism alive. That's what impacted her significantly. As for me, I feel blessed now to be living in Israel with my sister Lisa and our families, and my other newly married observant niece, Hannah, and her husband, and hopefully Sivan and her husband, their plan is to come too. So it's kind of wild. I don't know what happened or how things happened, but it looks like my mom's love for Israel and the Jewish people, it's carrying on and continuing on in all of us. So I only hope and pray that my mom does go to the highest places now in heaven, and that she gets so much nachas and pride from all of us and her family and friends down here in this world, and hopefully we can keep on doing good in her merit and in the things she did. And yeah, may we all continue to do the best, and I know she's in the best place. We love her, we thank her, and we are always for sure going to remember her and can't forget her. So thank you all for being here. I'm sorry for speaking so long, and thank you for listening.
Mine's a little bit shorter than David's, but a lot of what David said, and you guys can look, is a little bit what I'm going to say. But first of all, I don't know if you all saw, but when that train was, you guys don't know this, but my dad, anytime we're in the cemetery, and the day of his funeral, we would have a freight train. So it was just my dad. He was just joining us for a short time, you know, taking my mom along. So that was him. So. Also, the weird thing that happened when we were all sitting down and the rabbi was talking, and I'm trying to pay attention, but I already knew the story, so I was kind of off. I saw my mom going from chair to chair, hugging and laughing, and I saw myself saying, Mom, shh, sit down. Mom, we're in the middle of a service here, right? Like, that's what I saw. Like, that's what I was envisioning while he was talking. It's crazy. All right. Thank you guys, everyone, for being here. It's so important to us to have you all here. To honor us and to be here for us. I know some of you guys didn't know my mom, but you know us, and I feel like I am definitely connected to my mom very, very deeply, as we all are, and I will carry her on with me. When I think about my mom and her purpose here on earth, the answer is so clear. Her purpose was to spread unconditional love. Love to her family, love for God, and love for anyone who entered her life. She was pure and simple, David, in the best way. She didn't care about material things. What mattered to her were people. The people she loved always came first. I'm going to share this letter. I don't know, it was probably a year and a half ago. Something David had asked her to kind of write her thoughts down because she's a very emotional person, and this is what she wrote. Things I am thankful for. all of the wonderful family that I have, I've been very blessed. God has blessed me. This is the life I wanted. It's called family. Started with a small family and ended with a big family. And I'm very thankful to God for giving me what I wanted. Remember, she gets what she wants. And needed. Baruch Hashem, thank you, God, so much. As you can see, family was everything to her. We saw it in her everyday actions as children. How she made her home the gathering place for everything, as David was saying, celebrations. She lived for keeping us close. That house was all about keeping us close. And also keeping us happy and safe. Her life was so deeply connected to ours that she could not separate her own well-being from ours. If one of us struggled, she struggled too. She worried, sometimes endlessly. She'd wake up my dad in the middle of the night worrying about, I don't know, some kid stole something of mine, or something stupid. She just would worry and worry and worry. But she never just sat with her worry. She took action. She'd call, share her concerns, and make sure the rest of us were looking out for each other. Even as dementia began to affect her, that instinct never left. She was still worrying about us, our health, our relationships, our safety. I think, as David was saying, her last couple of years with dementia was not easy. She was upset, angry, agitated, fighting everything. And what it was is she was so concerned about us. If we would leave, she was worried that one of us would get hit by a truck or whatever it was. She was so worried, and the dementia really brought that concern for us. When we were there, I think most of the time she was calm and relaxed, but when we weren't, it was really just too hard for her. We tried everything. We did everything. I feel we honored her as children the best we could. We did everything. I mean, she was in and out. We tried different places. We tried different caregivers. We tried everything. And the only thing that would comfort her was when we were around her. And that's my mom. So we were around her at the end. We were with her, loving her. And I think she felt that. The care is the greatest gift she gave me and all of us. It shaped the way I live my life and the way I hope to continue living. My promise to you, Mom, is to carry that forward. To be there for my family, my friends, and as well as all the older adults in the families. I have some family members of some of my clients here. Some of them who got to even know my mom personally. And my friend Richard, actually, and my mom were friends, and his son is right here. So, I mean, the energy I devoted to caring for her, all that extra energy, I didn't have I shared with my 30 clients plus my mom, all that energy, that 50% that I gave to you, Mom, is all going to them. And I'm going to continue. I'm going to honor you, your legacy of your love and your compassion. Mom, I love you, I miss you, and I promise to keep making you proud.
Thank you all for being here. Ditto, amen to everything that was said about my mom and who she was, and as all of you knew her or learned about her today. I think I'm going to, instead of talking more about her and who we all know who she was, I'm going to try to tell the story of her end. Thank God I was able to be here. I flew in the night before, and it was me, Amy, Rhonda, Linda, Jenny, Lauren, and Michael all together. And the hospice nurse had told us that, how to know what to look for the signs as to when it's coming close. So when we thought that was coming or happening, we all gathered around her, and as we had been told, or we know, that you want the person before they go to hear the word Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, which is acknowledging the fact that God is everything, its existence. It was before you were here, it's when you're here, it's just the acknowledgement that God is everything, which is how she also did feel and believe. So we would all come together when she seemed like she was at the end, and Shema Adonai, I would together, all of us over. And I mean, okay, so that happened once. And she kind of felt, it seemed like she was stopping breathing for about 30, 40 seconds at that time. And then, nope, she wasn't. Okay, she'd come back with 3 or 4 or 5 big breaths, and she was back in it, and then she would do it again. And this happened for hours. I think the first Shema was at like maybe 6 or 7 at night. She ended up passing at 7:45 the next morning. So we did this over and over and over again. We stayed up all night, taking shifts, whatever, all night just by her side, and we were doing everything we could to make sure we got that in for her at the last moment. So that was that, and then at that point we weren't sure, it seemed like it was close to the end. The hospice nurse said to us, it could be a day, 2 days, and we're thinking, wow, a day, 2 days of shemaing it with her, Anyhow, so basically at that point it was the morning, and Ron was like, you know what, let's go. She'd gotten some machzor, some books for Rosh Hashanah. She's like, let's just start reading from the beginning of the books and, whatever, do the service. So we started, and we were reading to her, and then a part of it, kind of towards the beginning, is Shema. So we're reading it, Shema Yisrael, and Michael, who's resting in the other room, comes running in thinking, it's another Shema, it's coming close, right? But we really had no thought or intention that that's what was happening at all, because it was just consistent with what we had experienced for hours. And we're reading, and we're reading, we're reading, and Rhonda said to me, keep reading, just keep reading. And I was like, okay. So I just kept reading, and then I heard her say, it's been a really long time. And it had been like maybe 2 minutes, whatever, and we realized that she left. And she left after she heard Shema on her own. She left after we took out prayer books to pray with her. She left after we said Shema in the proper way, because we might not know it fully as, we're supposed to know it. And it's just like, it was so peaceful. I want everyone to know that hasn't heard that, because there was no gasp, there was no death rattle, all these things I've heard about, It was just quiet, and it was beautiful, and really, really, really special. And we were all there at one point, actually, like an hour or two before she passed. She opened her eyes a little bit, and she looked around in a way like she knew it was a different way than she looked before. She looked around like she was seeing, like, okay, you guys are here with me. It was really special. So I'm going to just tie in one little thing. I know it's going a little long, but something really special and significant to me that happened was Rhonda had asked the rabbi to come and blow the shofar where we were, because we wanted my mom to hear it, because we thought she would be alive. And at that point, she had passed in the morning. So Rhonda and I decided to walk to the shul to tell the rabbi, thank you, but she's no longer with us. So while we were there, we sat in the service and everything. And when we were sitting in the service, we heard the shofar. And as it's a big part of the Rosh Hashanah service, it's the mitzvah of the holiday. So we're listening to Shema, and many, many years ago, I heard a really beautiful story about the shofar. I'm really listening to the shofar. And I heard a really beautiful story about the shofar, and basically it was like the Jewish people's call to Hashem to reconnect and to connect, and the cry to Hashem. And it actually is very connected, I think, to Shema as well, right, Rabbi? So I don't know for sure, but it feels like it should be. So anyhow, there was a moment for me. I didn't grow up religious. I didn't, I always grew up kind of spiritual, feeling there was something more, but okay, that was it. And then there was a time, and it was the first moment that I would say like my spark was ignited, and it was actually at a Rosh Hashanah service many years ago when I was in Georgia. And this rabbi said this beautiful story about it, which I'm not going to share it now, but anyone that wants to hear, I'm happy to share it with you later. That I just had tears, and I felt like my soul came alive, and I was like, whoa, what just happened? And I'm like, this is like in my own religion, like I can feel this kind of connection and spirituality. And like the thing that my mom had always shown everybody and always felt that I just never understood. I was like, oh God, come on, Mom, like all the time, rolling my eyes at her, not getting it. And in that moment, I got it. And then I was saying to Rhonda as I came home, as afterwards, like, wow, that moment that I was awoken was the same day, and especially like time is like a cycle, right? It's the same day, the same like moment that she left, and she was such a part of that. It was like my awakening and her leaving, not to leave completely, but it just felt like full circle, and like she was a part of it, like even from way back then with me. And you know, now I look at it and it's like she was like adding the wood to my fire all along without me even knowing that that's what was happening. And then she's created this fire of connection and awe and a life that I feel very connected to and so grateful for, and having such a deep connection to Hashem. And so I really give a lot of credit of that to her. And so anyhow, that was just kind of a cool moment for me. So yes, I live in Israel, and I do have an observant home, and I have 4 little girls, and they are being raised in the way that my mom, I mean, I would talk to her, and I just can't believe it. I just never even thought you were going to get married, and now you're this like girl that you're doing. I'd be like, every conversation we had for years. So I'm like, oh, she'd be like, I can't. I'm like, I know, like I could have said it for her. Anyhow, so I know that, you know, she's proud, and that, you know, that was something that was meaningful to her, and I know she had a lot to do with it, and I just hope, like as Rhonda was saying, that all of her love and her light and her spirituality and her connectedness and her just knowing who God is, knowing what existence is, and knowing what is good in the world and what matters, that I can continue, you know, to shine her light through me, through teaching my children, through my children, and that it's just this continuous, you know, thing that goes on and on. So she'll be deeply, deeply missed, but she did suffer, and so the ambiguous loss that we learned about, it's a funky situation, but we will really, really miss her on so many levels. So thank you all for being here.
Really short. So we grew up in Northbrook, and we went to Glenbrook North. So one day they said, okay, everybody that has one child that went to Glenbrook North, sit down. Okay, who has 2 children, sit down. Who has 3 children, sit down. It went on and on and on. 6 children, and my parents were standing up, and people were going like, what the heck? How about 7? And my parents were standing up, and then she said, who went to Glenbrook North, had 8 children, and my parents were the only ones in the whole place, and the place went crazy. It was wild. And then one other little thing I want to say is, me and my mom wrote a song. She kept saying, well, you're the songwriter, but basically, and Nikki, I don't know where Nikki is, we're gonna finish it. It's like, mama, take care of yourself, be good to yourself. My mama said, take care of yourself, be good to yourself. So my mom kept saying, well, finish the song. And I'm like, well, you know, it's not my song, it's our song. But anyways, Nikki, who's here somewhere, I'm not sure where she is, and there's Nikki, and she's got an amazing voice and plays, and we're gonna finish the song, and in remembrance of my mom. Thanks.
Bubby cared about 2 things in life: family and Judaism. We all spend much of our lives questioning ourselves, our priorities, our decisions, our purpose. Not Bubby. She lived with absolute clarity.
Bubby only had one regret: that she didn't have more kids. In contrast, Zadie named their boat 8 is Enough. After nearly 11 years, they're finally back together to hash it out.
Bubby said journaling helped her deal with tough times, so I tried following her advice, journaling when I could over the years. After a FaceTime call with her in April 2018, here are a few quotes I jotted down in my journal that she said to me. People are really good, and I think if you are kind to people that they'll respond. I'm just so grateful, I have so much, I couldn't ask for any more. Another quote. I am so popular at Gidwitz. Everyone loves me and I don't know why. Everyone has problems, but I am so grateful. All other old people complain, but I have no reason to. And lastly, she said, just remember, my love is with you wherever you go.
As I was looking through my camera roll, reflecting on all the happy memories with Bubby, I came across two pictures that made me smile the most. One was Bubby massaging my feet, which was just the best. All you had to do was just put your foot out in front of her without hesitation. She'd start happily massaging. Occasionally my dad's foot would get in the way, but then she'd pivot and go both hands, just make us both happy. Just the best. The other was a picture of 5 note cards titled Words to Live By, Anita Coleman, February 12, 2020. I thought these words to live by were simple yet beautiful and a reflection of Bubby, so I wanted to share it with everyone. Here's what she wrote. Number 1, take care of yourself, like Milton's song. Love life. Live and let live. When I asked her what this one meant, she said, live your life and let others live theirs. Dancing and music, what a joy, with 3 exclamation points. And lastly, be happy. Today, I hope we all can try to instill Bubby's words to live by in our lives.
So close your eyes and imagine Bubby for a moment. What do you see? Here's what we see. Smiling at the Shabbat dinner table. Shabbat at her house was a beautiful chaos. After you do the blessing with washing your hands and you're not allowed to speak until the hamotzi, our family, like someone would say something and then you go shh, and then you'd shush the shusher and then everyone would be shushing. It was just a really funny joke we have going on. Anyway, we say the hamotzi, everyone starts talking loudly about who knows what, and then there's Bubby sitting quietly, smiling ear to ear, especially in her later years. She couldn't always follow the conversation, but that's not what mattered. What mattered was that her family was together, and just feeling that energy was pure bliss for her.
Here's another thing we see. Bubby offering us food. Bubby lived a convenient 3-minute drive from our high school. We'd stop by once or twice a week for lunch. We didn't have a ton of time, so from the moment we arrived until the moment we left, she was trying to be as helpful as possible. You could be walking out the door, and she would still be trying to get you to take an apple to go, or make absolutely sure that you're full. Bubby's happiness was completely determined by her family's happiness.
Singing and dancing. We all know how much Bubby loved music and how much comfort it gave her, even in the last parts of her life. I will never forget watching her miraculously dance down the aisle at mine and Sam's wedding last year and how much that meant to my dad.
Inexplicably laughing. Bubby would often spontaneously burst out laughing for no apparent reason at all. And I think this was one of Bubby's unspoken life lessons. We don't find it weird when we're sad or upset for no reason. Why can't we also just be joyful for no particular reason?
Finally, we see her waving. Every time you left your visit. Does this work? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna repeat. This is the end. Yeah. Finally, we see her waving. Every time you left your visit, Bubby would famously wave until you were completely out of sight. She would stand there smiling on her doorstep, and until you were literally on Finkston, she was still waving. Today, we all give Bubby one last smile and wave, and think about how happy she is right now that her family and loved ones are together. We know she's smiling and waving right back at us, just as she always did.
Shir Lamalos. Esoinai le'alri me'ayin yavoy Ezri me'im Adonai oisei shomayim va'oretz. Ayitein lamotrach lecha yanum shomerecha. Hinei lo yanum v'lo yishon shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomerecha Adonai tzilcha yad yaminecha. Yom Hashemesh lo yakeka v'yarech v'lo ilo. Adonai yishmorcha mikora yishmor es nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzeischa v'yecha mi'atov yad olam. A song of ascents. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian. The Lord is your protection by your right side. By day the sun will not harm you, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all evil. The Lord will guard your life. The Lord will guard your going and coming from now and forever. 'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be and to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing to love, a holy thing to love, what death has touched. Okay, we're going to start the next part of this. What we're going to do is we're going to gather in two lines, and whoever wants to partake would shovel in a few shovelfuls. It's considered one of the great acts of kindness to help bury somebody. It's a kindness for which you don't get any reward. Okay, so we're gonna form like two lines. One line coming from this direction and one line coming from that direction. The custom is that the first shovelful you do with the shovel turned backwards. And people tend to do at least 3 shovelfuls. Eventually you can do more, but since everybody's going to want to get a chance to do it, we'll try to keep it to that, just 3 shovelfuls. And then when everybody's been through, and you want to come back, could do it. The first of the 3 is upside down, like this.
Begin with the immediate family members, please.
One other detail, when you put it back, you do that, you stick it into the mouth. You don't hand it to the next person.
Went that way. Kind of, sort of, not really immediate family. Oh, no. No, she was up by Lillian here. Her gravestone, it says sisters. I know she was her. Yeah, so I was coming to, they didn't come through all the time. Coming to the America and stuff. That's why they were always in that so that. If I remember correctly, but I could be in Jenny.
Right here. Jade was right there with the glasses, like Lauren, then Jenny, then Jaden.
Oh, yeah.
No, you remember her like. But isn't it right? That's how they and Jody Curry. Right? My mom's story is actually really it is.
I think I told our
So often I see them
she shows up kind of thing.
and I'll continue hearing it. Yeah. So often that's exactly.
To see.
Yeah, I think you look for
Nobody else?
Yeah.
Not including.
The aforementioned too.
You guys were like shocked. You touched her and her life. And you made me I didn't understand that.
At most, any time.
Everybody was on the spearheaded everything.
Well,
Is it still on?
They're all together now.
I know, we were just, was I just talking to Sherry and I was mentioned the name, I mentioned but Alan, because I did, because it was the 7 days. Because I was like, when we was talking about that, I was like, I can't believe my granddad is here. No, of course not.
It's a relative. Who is it? It's a Rothschild. It's a Reuben. It is Reuben.
I don't know. Do I get anything?
So many people. It is. I mean, really. Illinois doesn't know too many days like today, but Mrs. Coleman deserved it. And after last week, because last week was so. Yeah.
He went home to change.
She went to high school.
No, you're nuts, yes.
Okay, that's why I was checking.
Which he didn't. It's my new executive. Yeah, are you up? Oh, am I up? I'm up like last year because I got back into it.
You did Mounds Hill. You did Mounds Hill.
I just got here.
7 years old. We went to high school together. Graduated 7. Oh my gosh, Dad, they love this game. Oh yeah. I had him do my meniscus. He did Mounds Hill.
Passed out his garbage.
Dylan's mom had texted me I texted you I had to go get Dylan. He didn't get the words and text me until he got there. This was at 6 o'clock. I woke up at 6 o'clock morning and I was
She was here and I wanted to come out. I wanted her to just right after
Brilliant. Hi. I would like to thank you.
I want to help you.
Are you comfortable?
Well, now I'm just going to wait till the end. It's hot.
Right? There you get the bathroom Did you get the bathroom? Like what? I was thinking you got it.
Yeah, I didn't want to get
We're like together the whole night. I know. I'm just saying.
I don't need this, right?
Where they went to Miami for a week. See,
Just kidding, that's a joke. You don't know what I'm joking? So my brother, made the joke when we were Yes. So this is a Oh, well, I'll get another one day. For sure. Okay. And I can go pee. My car's here. I thought we were supposed to stand around. No, you don't. You go. The rabbi thought that's what your brother said. I'm going to walk with you.
right, so we're just going to do one thing at film and then we'll do Kaddish.
So my brother always said, this is a very sharp button.
Are we good? Are we good? Everybody's good? Okay, so we're going to just say one more Tehillim, and then we're going to say Kaddish. Does everybody have this folder? In the back of the folder is the Kaddish, and it has it transliterated also. Okay, you see it on the back side? On the back side? Okay. So I'm just going to go Shir Hamalos no Kim Karasi Harino Yarino Shima Bitoli Tiana Nakashivos the Coast of Nunoi Mabonas Tishma Yarino Yamoid Kim Fa Haslicha Laman Tibake Kivi said no keeps on Nafshi Liberoyo Folti Nafshi Laran Misham Laboiker Shamer Laboiker Yachel Yisrael and I came out of Yachese Babe Moiftus but who if there's Israel Mikol Abonos so I'm going to say Kaddish.
Amen.
Amen. Yesh me Rabba Mabarach Lalam Lamei Umayo.
Amen.
Okay, now we are going to line up. We're going to make two lines. Where are yours?
If I could ask everyone not wearing a career ribbon to please come this way. Rabbi.
Yeah.
Two lines facing one another all the way to the roadway, please.
You guys, he's having you all lined up in the family. You guys are. I lost my phone. Why are shirts with? I chose. Oh, you chose it? I chose to do it. Oh, okay. It's closer to the heart. It's more secure. No, it's right. Okay. I chose to. It's okay. You know what? No, I love it, but yeah, I did. No, I tried. That's all right. All right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Careful. Careful walking.
The family, you guys are going to walk through it, okay? And we're going to say, hold on, I'll say it as they come through. Okay. You guys can come through. So we're just going to say this. Mako, Menachem, Estem, Besok, Shar, Mele, Sion, Yerushalayim.
Have everybody a couple of brief announcements, please. I want to thank those of you that have joined us here in person and those online as well. The family will be sitting Shiva at the Coleman residence, 4034 Rutgers Lane in Northbrook. They're receiving guests until 5:30 p.m. today. On Sunday, they're going to have prayers at 8:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. and formally be sitting Shiva between 12 noon and 4 on Sunday, and then resume from 7 to 9. On Monday morning, there'll be a prayer service at 6:30 a.m. at the residence. If anybody needs the information, it's on the service folder. If you need one, I have them here. Also, please take note of the family's memorial contributions. Thank you.